Hi guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm going to be doing some autumn book recommendations. So all of these books are books that I have already read and books that I think would fit the autumn season perfectly. So I am going to do a separate video for classics for the autumn season and any books that just fit outside of that. So let's just get into all of the autumn book recommendations. So the first one, and this is also one that I'm going to be rereading this autumn, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is such a good book and so perfect for the autumn cozy season. This book follows the main character Blue, and her family are all psychics, and someone in her family sees like a prophecy that the first boy that she kisses, so her first kiss, he will die, and she lives in fear of that basically. She then ends up meeting a group of boys called the Raven Boys, and it has this kind of dark academia, witchy, cozy autumn vibe, and it is so perfect. It is a YA series, but it is so good. It is the first book in a series of 4 books. Honestly, if you haven't read this already, I know it's a really popular series, but at least it used to be, but if you haven't read this already, you absolutely need to. It is so amazing, and I have only read the first 2 books, but I want to reread the first 2 so that I can continue on with the rest of the series. But I know at least that the first 2 books are absolutely amazing, so if you want a series to read this autumn, I would highly recommend this book. The next book is one that I actually read really recently over the summer, and that is The Lighthouse Witches by CJ Cook. Oh my god, would this be the perfect autumn read? I kind of regret not reading it in the autumn, but also reading in the summer was actually pretty perfect whenever there was summer rain and it was cozy. This book is set on a fictional Scottish island. It follows a family who have moved there because the mum has basically wanted to escape the life that she had in the last place that she lived, and she was invited to paint a mural in this lighthouse that's on the island, and it is like a derelict lighthouse, but the person who owns it wants to do it up and wants a mural on the building. But the mural that she's been asked to paint is really weird and is just full of all of these weird symbols. And basically on this island, during the time of the witch hunts in and around the 1600s, there were loads of women who were killed on the island, and the island is believed to be cursed by these witches, or so-called witches. It's like a fantasy, magical realism, mystery thriller. It is so well written, and you just want to keep reading to find out what happens next. As well, the author is from Belfast, and that just makes it even better. I believe that she now lives in Scotland, or at least did live in Scotland at one point. I think she does live in Glasgow, but she is from Belfast, and that just made me want to read it even more. I am from Belfast, so it was genuinely so amazing, and I'm definitely going to be reading more of this author's books because it is absolutely amazing. So if you want a book about witches, definitely go and read this. It is so good, and the atmosphere is perfect for autumn. The next book is a book that I talk about literally every day, literally constantly. If you watch any of my videos, in every single YouTube short I do, literally this is a book in every single one of them, and that book is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Oh my god, you need to go and read this book if you haven't already, and please read it this autumn. If you want to read this now is the absolute perfect time. This is a dark academia. It follows a group of friends, and on the first page we find out that they have murdered their friend Bunny, and the story is us finding out why and how Bunny was murdered. Oh my god, is this so good. It is one of the most well written books I have ever read. I'm now actually rereading it on audiobook. I'm listening to Donna Tartt narrate it herself. So if you do want to read it on audiobook, Donna Tartt does narrate it herself, which makes it amazing because I love everything about her. I love her voice, I love her vibe, I love everything, and this is just the perfect season to read The Secret History. If you've been wanting to, please take your opportunity right now and read this. It is unbelievably well written, and yeah, I love this book. It's one of my favourite books of all time. I literally never shut up about this book. I love it so much. So the next book is one that I actually read last year, and that is Misery by Stephen King. This is a really creepy, odd kind of mystery thriller horror, and it basically follows an author called Paul Sheldon I mean, I think like Stephen King's inserting himself here, but it's Paul Sheldon, and he gets into a car accident and he then wakes up in a woman called Annie Wilkins's house, and she keeps him captive in her house and forces him to write the next book in a series that he had actually finished off. He had written the last book in the series, but she's like a massive fan of that series and wants to force him to write the next book so that she can find out what happens next, because she really doesn't want the main character that he had killed off to be dead. So she makes him like write a book about her coming back to life and how this happens so that the series can continue on. A lot of really dark things happens in this book. It is really good and perfect for this season if you want like a horror that isn't like actually that scary. It is more of like, it is gory, and I would say if you don't like people being like harmed, or if that is like a trigger for you, bodily harm, like severe injury or anything like that, then I would highly recommend not reading this book. But it is quite gory and quite like you kind of cringe, like, oh, like it is just really awful what the main character goes through. It is also really good and really perfect if you want like a horror that isn't too scary, more of like a thriller kind of horror. It's really good. This was my first ever Stephen King, so yeah, really happy I finally read a Stephen King book, but definitely would recommend this for kind of Halloween time. So the next book I'm going to recommend is another series, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. I know this is quite a popular series. I'm not sure if it's as popular as it used to be, but it is quite a popular series. It is a YA series and it's basically another kind of mystery thriller horror-ish kind of thing. Okay, I just had to like turn on the light because it just suddenly got like really dark in here. So I've just turned on this light, so sorry if that's like glaring, but it's too dark otherwise. But basically Stalking Jack the Ripper follows the main character Audrey Rose, and it is set around the time of like Jack the Ripper, and Audrey Rose is like a woman of the time, but she is interested in forensic medicine, so she's interested in like dead bodies and everything, and that's not like proper of her. As all of the events with Jack the Ripper's killings and everything starts to happen, she wants to be more involved and stuff starts to ensue. It's like, as I said, like a mystery thriller horror kind of book, but like not much horror because it is YA. It is really enjoyable and it's so easy to read. It's really fast paced, so if you do want like an easy, fun, enjoyable, cozy Halloween book, then I would highly recommend this book. And the next one in the series as well is good. It's Hunting Prince Dracula. That one is good as well, but I haven't read the rest of the series, but I would definitely recommend the first two and definitely Stalking Jack the Ripper. The next book that I'm going to recommend is The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. So this book is so good. I read it so long ago and honestly I would really love to reread it, but it has always stuck in my mind and it is the perfect Halloween kind of autumnal cozy read. Basically this book is about like the witch hunts, and it is set on another island near a lighthouse. Years and years and years ago, 3 women were killed in these witch hunts, and years later these 3 women return. Weird things start to happen. It is so good. It does have like a similar vibe to The Lighthouse Witches, apart from The Lighthouse Witches is an adult novel, this is a YA. I would highly recommend reading this one. It is such a perfect book for the cozy season. If you want a book about witches, again, it's absolutely perfect. So the next book that I'm going to recommend is Murder as a Fine Art by David Morrell. I read this one as well quite a few years ago, but it is such a good book. It is another one that I probably should reread because I've read the first 2 but I never finished off the series, but it is so good. It is set in the 1800s, around the time of when Thomas de Quincey was alive. It is a historical fiction, so Thomas de Quincey is in this book, he is a murder suspect. Basically it follows that, and his novella Murder as a Fine Art is used as evidence or like a blueprint to find out who the murderer is. If you are like a fan of classics or if you enjoy historical fiction, I would highly recommend this one. I love it whenever a real historical figure features in a fictional novel. Okay, so my camera just overheated as usual. The light really keeps changing, so I'm sorry about that. But I was talking about Murder as a Fine Art. So yeah, I was saying about it is a historical fiction. It features Thomas de Quincey. It is a really good book and perfect for autumn. It is just like, again, like a thriller mystery, but just like perfect for the vibes. That is all of my autumn book recommendations for this year anyway. If you have read any of these, please let me know, or if you think you're going to add any of these to your TBR, please do let me know. I would love to hear any of your thoughts that you have, and if you have any autumn recommendations, please let me know, or especially if you have made an autumn recommendations video yourself, definitely let me know. I love interacting in the comments. Thank you so much for watching if you have made it all the way through this video. If you did enjoy, then please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.